Chapter 6, Social, Psychological, Spiritual, and Cognitive Aspects of Aging. This is a pretty long one, so we're going to try to go through it as quickly as possible. Lifespan development approach. So development is lifelong. Each person's development is defined by time and place. Development includes growth and decline, so children typically grow in size and abilities, whereas in adulthood the balance shifts. That doesn't mean that we can't grow as an adult. Of course we do, but as far as growing physically, that obviously shifts and we actually end up on a decline. Development is limited and varies from person to person. So again, going back to development is lifelong, that development's going to be different from person to person. Types of aging. So you want to know your different types of aging. Chronological aging, defined by years. Biological aging, predicted by a person's physical condition. And psychological aging, express the ability to control of memory, learning capacity, skills, emotions, and judgments. So your book talked about biological aging, that a person could be a 70-year-old, but their physical condition would actually, they would be a 90-year-old, or, or a 50-year-old if they were super healthy and doing really well. So that's going to be how that'll be defined. So chronologically, they could be older, but have a younger type of body. So the sociological theories of aging. So you have all these theories that are listed, and there's going to be a bunch of different slides coming up on those. I'm going to go through those quickly through this, because we're going to work on these together. So, and we're going to break up into little groups when we get together and collaborate in order to do these different ones. So your disengagement theory, activity theory, continuity theory, age stratification theory, social engage theory, modernization theory, symbolic interaction theories, and so anyway, we're going to go through there. So implications for geri nursing and healthy aging and the sociological theories. These provide the geri nurse with useful information and a background for enhancing healthy aging and adaptation. Have been adapted and applied to contemporary approaches to aging in many ways. So we're going to see these sociological theories being used in many different avenues of nursing, especially when working with our elderly population. Psychological theories of aging. You have psychological theories of aging presuppose that aging is a development process experienced between birth and death. They include Jung's theory of personality, developmental theories, and theory of gerotranscendence. These are all from your books. So Jung's theory of personality, some of you guys may have heard about his theories before, but it defines the last half of life as having a purpose of its own, allowing for inner growth, self-awareness, and reflection. Personality is directed either towards the external world, an extrovert, or the internal world, an introvert. Midlife presents questions to one's own dreams, values, and priorities. So what we call something that, someone goes a way that they've never gone before, and it's extreme, would be a midlife crisis. As people age and get older, they start to wonder, did I do everything I could have with my life? But with Jung's theory, the last half, allows for that inner growth and awareness of who I am and how I lived, and that's the reflection, is how did I live? Developmental theory. So Erikson's hierarchy presents developmental stages and tasks. Erikson's last stage of life is to look back and reflect the ego integrity or despair. So am I good with everything I did, or am I in despair over the things I didn't do or the things that I did? Another theorist named Peck expanded on Erickson's with identification of specific task of old age to establish ego integrity. And I'm actually not going to be going into that. What we'll want to look at with developmental theories is mostly just Erickson. And then your theory of gerotranscendence. Human aging brings a shift from the material world to the cosmic world with increased satisfaction. This shift is ongoing and associated with wisdom and spiritual growth. So again, we're going to keep seeing this. You guys know this from mental health, and even more so now with geriatric nursing. We are going to nurse the spiritual side of people. That is our job. That doesn't mean that we have to believe or not believe or put our own personal opinions and our beliefs on anybody. It's that we're going to nurse what their spiritual belief is. So that brings us into spirituality and aging. So there's a lot of stuff on here. You can see the first part, spirituality, is the quality of the person resulting from faith, a search for meaning, connection to others, and transcendence itself. So spirituality is a connection, basically. It happens by faith and believing in something that one can't touch. It helps people with the meanings of life and their purpose that they're here. Physical health, loss of a loved one, and understanding that his or her life may be coming to an end causes a reflection of life. And can also cause spiritual crisis for a person. So I put the whole definition of spiritual distress in here for you guys. It's important to understand what spiritual distress is, because we are going to work with people in spiritual distress, but is manifested by a deep sense of hurt stemming from feelings or loss from separation from one's God or deity, a sense of personal inadequacy or sinfulness before God and man, or a pervasive condition of loneliness. So people can have a major spiritual distress from many different things that happen in their lives, and we can talk about that in more detail another time. So a person in spiritual distress is unable to experience the meaning of hope, connectedness, or transcendence, may be manifested by anger, guilt, blame, hatred, expressions of alienation, plenty of other negative feelings that it can be expressed in. And as the nurse, we may be on the receiving end of these expressions because there's no one else that the patient can really feel like they can trust. Spirituality is the deepest resource for healing. That's important to know. It's the deepest resource for healing for everybody. We're going to keep going through there. So, implications for geri nursing and healthy aging. Older adults want nurses to address spiritual needs as well as their physical needs. Religious needs are important and can enhance the healing process. There's research after research after research that's been done that shows that those with a spiritual connection or belonging to a religious organization tend to actually have better medical outcomes. So the next stuff in there is just for your information. Nurturing the spirit of the nurse. So nurses must consider what gives their own life meaning and value, what assists them in offering spiritual support to patients. So I need to know what my own spiritual beliefs are, and I need to know where my connectedness comes from, and the different things that I implement in my own life for taking care of my spirit before I can help someone else. Again, that doesn't mean that I have to totally agree with what somebody else's is, but I do have to be clear on what my own is. Taking care of the nurse's own spiritual needs helps them to better meet the patient's spiritual needs. Cognition and aging. Cognition is the process of acquiring, storing, sharing, and using information. We actually did a lot with this in mental health. So you can read the rest of that here. Cognition can remain stable or decline with aging. So remember, a loss of cognition may not happen with aging. but then again, we may lose certain parts of it. The components there, you can see language, thought process, memory, execution of function, judgment, attention, and perception. Memory, so the ability to retain and restore or store the information and retrieve when needed. So you have immediate memory, short-term memory, long-term memory. As you guys probably remember when you were with me in Brighton, we would ask patients if they were having any trouble with their short or long-term memory. Familiarity, previous learning, and life experience can compensate for memory loss. And age-associated memory impairment is memory loss that is considered normal in light of person's age and educational level. So it can be normal to have some age-related memory problems, and that can be short-term, that can be long-term, but, you know, remember, not everybody is going to have the same degree of memory loss as they get older, and we would still need to be assessing our patient to make sure that it's not something deeper like dementia or the Alzheimer's, or is something in another category. So the following strategies maintain and enhance cognition and vitality for life. So if you read through these ones, it's a lot of stuff that basically we just do for good self-care. So managing chronic conditions, maintaining healthy weight, limiting sodium and fats, participating in activity, being social, being involved in stimulating activities. So all these things can help to maintain and enhance cognition. Learning late in life must be relevant information. So a lot of our older adults are not real interested in learning a lot of things if it's not relative for them in their lives. That's just common for actually a lot of people, but especially later in life. New learning must relate to what the older person already knows. Literacy level and cultural variations do play a role, and many older adults have computers and make up the fastest growing age group who owns them, which was kind of a surprising thing that I took out of your guys' book. But, you know, interesting nonetheless. It's great because that means that every age group is moving forward with our new technologies and other things that we have available to us. Health literacy, this is from other classes as well. If you remember, the ability to obtain, process, and understand basic health information and services to make appropriate decisions regarding health care requires more than the ability to read and write. So there's got to be an understanding there as well, like it says, and understand basic health information. Being able to read things like prescriptions, appointment slips, medical education brochures, that's also all a part of the health literacy. So implications for geri nursing and healthy aging. Nurses have gained knowledge about life and the aging norms. So it's good, again, for us to know the normals of things that we're going to see as regards to cognition and health literacy, like we were just talking, our different theories that we're going to discuss in a deeper area later on, that we have this norms. We know physically and mentally and spiritually what we should be looking for typically and what may be different from that. Nurses ensure that the inner self of their client has meaning and purpose as they care for the older adult. And this is really important because we do want our patients to be in touch with that inner self so they know what their purpose and their meaning, or at least have some understanding of that, because if not, there could be a lot of despair for the patient. All right, so that was Chapter 6. The remainder of the stuff should be up tomorrow. Hopefully you guys are getting these ones in, and then we will again meet on Monday. So that's it. Thanks.